Welcome everyone to a really special episode of the Hyperbolic Orbits podcast. And today our guest is someone who is a neuroscientist who works in space exploration. And not just that, if you remember the movie Hidden Figures, where they show the initial days of American space flight and how the incredible women there paved the way for all of us to participate in space flight globally. This person is one of those hidden figures in my life. She taught me so much and she inspires me to this day. And also, she's one of the warmest, nicest, and the friendliest people I've ever come across. Today, we have Dr. Agata Kołodziejczyk from joining us all the way from Poland. Thank you so much, Dr. Agata. Such an honor to have you here with us today.
Thank you, Shumana, for inviting me, and thank you all our listeners to joining us and to celebrate this amazing time.
Thank you. And today is a very special occasion. We are doing this on International Women's Day, and I can't imagine getting influenced by one woman in the space industry more than you. I mean, that was because I met you in the very early stages, and I am totally impressed by everything you do. So I wanted to ask you a few things about how it all started. You were growing up in Poland, and how did you get attracted to neuroscience in the first place?
Well, the story is, in fact, originating in Poland, in a country between East and West. So we have no easy life here. But this is something what is motivating people living in this ground. We try to educate. We try to teach. And my father, my mother were teachers. So everything started in my family, and I really appreciate the parents who showed me the way of education and who showed me that this is very important. Not even important, it is fun. Honestly, I must tell you that when people are asking me why neuroscience, the very beginning of the answer should be education, because I want to see how brains develop, what is the capacity, something like this. And of course, when I was young, I had no idea what is neuroscience, but I wanted to learn, and I liked to learn. My brain was sucking all, stimuli from around. And my parents, of course, seeing me like this very creative baby, this very curious baby, explorative baby. I had always my scratches on my body because I was entering all dangerous places. So my parents, they decided to give me books, and I started to read books very early. When I was 4, I could already read some sentences, and at age 6, I could read everything and I could make computations. I really loved it. My parents were astronomers, so they wanted me to be astronomer, but I didn't want. It was kind of a disaster. Well, I don't know, but I told them that it is great to look through telescopes and to watch the universe. They were specialized in far universe. It is not our solar system. It is far beyond. I said, I want to do something here in our local place in the universe. And especially, I realized that I want to understand how astronomers perceive this light of stars, how really our body perceives the light. So is that true what astronomers see? And this was the way why I became neuroscientist.
That is such an interesting story. I mean, most people we speak to, they're like, yes, we want to look at the stars, but we are stuck here on Earth. But thank God, thanks to people like you, we actually have developments on here, and not everybody is landing on the stars. So thanks to that. But eventually, like how fate has it, you did come to space, and yes, it did happen.
Yes.
And I want to know how that intersection happened. What was your PhD research like, and how you ended up in the field of space?
This is very interesting story because I wanted to be kind not to be an astronomer. Or this was my main goal because all my family are astronomers, and I said no, 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 no. I want to be normal, something like this. And my high school, my studies, my master studies were biology. And then my PhD studies were also biology, neurobiology, but still biology. And I wanted to be neuroscientist. I wanted to understand how brain works. My favorite part of this whole big topic was circadian rhythms because they were evoked by starlight. Yes. So this was my only connection that I would love to have with space, just perceiving the light. But life is, writing very weird scenarios. At some point, I realized that my career is developing brilliantly. I didn't believe that I'm so lucky. My PhD studies were in Stockholm University, where they give Nobel prizes. So it is absolutely the best, the highest level, what I could even imagine. And then I started to have my own family. I started to have 3 kids, and I realized that it will be hard to be, to continue a career as a neuroscientist because it is very time consuming. You need to spend hours, nights, especially with that you work with circadian rhythms, so also days and nights. You need to be in the laboratory. And where is the time for kids? Where is the time for family? No time. So my husband told me that we should come back to Poland from Sweden. Even I got a postdoc in Japan in the best neuroanatomical laboratory, but I realized that, okay, I need to resign. But I said, okay, I'm resigning for now, for family, and then I will come back somehow. I don't know how. During my time in Poland, I started to think how to get back to science, how to get back to normal favorite things that I'm doing, and I realized that the best will be to do some human spaceflight research, some new direction in my career, because I knew that neuroscience is the end of topic for now because I stopped it. So I realized that I will find a niche that is still not occupied, and I can develop this niche. I had this time with my family, so I had a lot of time for thinking. And then my husband said that, yeah, if you want to go somewhere, it is good if you will get a European Space Agency position or NASA position. I said, are you crazy, man? Me, mother of 3 kids, going to ESA, this is something ridiculous. But he said, yeah, you can manage. And I really started to work hard on that. Still, I had very small kids, but I can tell you I managed, and I realized that, wow, space is really big. There is place for everyone there, even for me, a mother with 3 kids. And I said, wow, I think I found my way. I found my way, and I started to organizing conferences in Poland because I had no idea what the space sector is. I said, oh my God, it's crazy. I need to learn everything about space. No, not astronomy. I want bioastronautics. I want something related with biology. But in Poland, we had no single company working on human spaceflight. We had only one cosmonaut, but it was already old, retired, and no chances for Poland to develop in human spaceflight sector. So I said, okay, we need really to go away from Poland because we need to learn about it more. And I applied to ESA, so to European Space Agency, and again, luckily, I got the position. I had no contacts. It was just writing an application. Crazy, crazy. And said, I know nobody, I have no contacts. How will I get this position? And apparently I got it. So I said, oh my God, I'm so lucky.
Well, luck definitely a little bit, but Agatha, everyone who knows you, they know that you're a wonderful mother to your children, and on top of that, you will always find a way. You never give up. You will always find a way to do things the right way. So it was a
Yeah.
lot of hard work on your part, a lot of difficult decisions on your part when you came to ESA, which is also the time I met you for the first time when you were at the Advanced Concepts team and you were working on something like biomimetics. And I remember I also visited your lab and you taught me a lot of things back then. So I wanted to ask you a little bit about bioastronautics and how you just told us how you got started in it, but what was it that you were actually researching on while you were at ESTEC in Netherlands?
So my imagination about European Space Agency was that I will enter some Star Trek spaceship and I will be working there, And in fact, I must tell you that ESTEC in Netherlands looks a bit like some big spaceship. You have several mock-ups of solar panels from, real missions from Hubble telescope, for example, there. You see really micrometeorite holes on these panels. You see mock-ups of so many Earth observation satellites there. Everything is, metallic, silver, organic. Oh my God, this is so beautiful. But me as a biologist, I was trained in the university education, so it was completely different than engineering. And in ESTEC, you have mostly engineering. Of course, you have some science, but mostly engineering, mostly very application science. So I had also to switch my mindset from typical university theoretical mindset to application science and to technology. It was very interesting. Of course, brain likes new stimuli, and it was also very interesting to adapt to completely new way of realization of projects. Luckily, I landed as a postdoc in Advanced Concepts team, which is a very good unit to develop. You have complete freedom. Nobody will tell you, you must do this, you must get this result. No, you can do whatever you want. So to me, working at ESTEC was a paradise. Like for my brain, it was like, okay, I can do whatever I want. I can develop any projects I like. It was really best time in my life because I could do everything what I want, and everyone was accepting this. So first, of course, there was no position for neuroscientists because they had no neurobiological laboratories in ESTEC, obviously. But they gave me the position of biomimetics expert. I said, oh my God, what is this? and biomimetics means engineering inspired by biology. So there is something that you need to develop, design, but it needs to be inspired by solutions that already nature evolved. Ooh, completely different topic that I had before, so it was very interesting, very open, very opening the mind, how to say. And I realized that, okay, I will focus on several things. First, the most connected with my former education, former knowledge. So it was working on circadian rhythms in isolation, in spaceships. And the project was named Time Architecture. So I wanted to reset clocks in astronauts when they are in space, and to even find possibilities. Can we reset them? Can we make them younger in space? Or, crazy things. Even I was thinking about immortality set by circadian clock. So imagine crazy projects, crazy dreams. And of course, we were trying to work very seriously on that. Another project that I was developing in ESTEC was it was always concepts, so no practical knowledge, just concepts. But this was the main task for us, to create concepts that later in the future, in 20 years, ESA will develop. So we had time, you know. And the second project was kombucha, related with bacterial consortium, bacterial and yeast consortium. Kombucha was already exposed on the International Space Station in exposure mission. So I realized, okay, let's work on that, because this is promising consortium to make a bioreactor for future lunar and Martian bases. So this was my second project. And I must tell you, in 2 years working at ESA, I not only developed these concepts, published papers, of course, many things, but I realized that, okay, now I want to check it in practice, if all my concepts are correct. And then we were searching for a laboratory, but ESTEC has no specialized laboratory. So after all, investigations, we realized to create our own laboratory.
That is such an incredible story. I mean, um, to create your own space within and such a big, already established organization. And like you said, ESTEC is very much likened to stepping into a sci-fi Star Trek kind of an environment, because we used to study there and all our study trips would be to ESTEC. And it was enough. The professors knew that this place would be enough to inspire the students. We don't need to do anything else. And for you to work on such, you said crazy topics, I would also agree with it. I mean, unbelievable topics. It was, thank you for sharing that. And after this episode, when you had started telling me a little bit about what you were doing, that's when I thought, oh my God, neuroscience is so interesting. And I started reading up a little bit. So I still do now. It has been several years, and I started reading textbooks, understanding it. So a lot of people have asked me, well, where did this bug of neuroscience come from? So it's not a bug. It was actually a lot of more inspiration from you. So thank you. And I know that after that you brought your understanding of human spaceflight, and you said, okay, I'm going to do something totally committed to this field. And so I wanted to know, you are one of those people who started working on simulation analog missions in the very early stages, and you're one of those people who have developed it to a very advanced level, that what it is today. So I wanted to know what happened during the early days of your interest in analog missions, and what kind of experience did you have back then?
Thank you, Shumana, for all these nice words that somehow I could motivate you. I'm very, very happy. Analog missions are also like projects that are set to inspire people, to motivate people. And I started from the beginning that I'm interested in education. I love to see the process, how brain develops, how brain transforms, how people get better and better. So I don't want to be evolving only myself, to develop my brain only, because then I will be alone in this planet. I want everyone to develop. And this is probably the best part. So I told you already that we had to set the laboratory, and this laboratory was mainly set to observe circadian rhythms of humans in isolation. And it is very hard to do some studies like this, because you need to be minimum 2 weeks in such controlled environment. And for humans, it is hard time to be 2 weeks closed. Of course, we are now adapted after pandemics. We can sit even 1 month in the house because we had this experience. But before, it was not like that. So people, they loved to move, to be active, and never they were thinking that they will sit down for 2 weeks in one place. So in order to make them happy, to make these people occupied during these 2 weeks, we had to develop some scenario that they will like, and that this will not be a waste of time and just research. And this was the main thing why we started analog missions. So to create this scenario of lunar base, of lunar mission, all procedures, this was never the goal. So it was just a side product of making these studies on circadian rhythms. And now we have shorter missions. These missions are 1 week long, so no longer we are working on circadian rhythms. We started only to work on adaptation to extreme environments, and we think that 1 week is sufficient for a young person, but not necessarily. We have people from all ages, just to test them. And maybe not we want to test them, we want them that they will test themselves. I hope it is clear. So because of that, if you have control on what you are doing, you can see how you adapt. And we want to show to these all our people that they can adapt. This is number one, that everything can be changed. And especially when we show how much work you can do during 1 day, when you have a schedule, when you have everything planned. Many people, they tell us after the mission that, wow, I didn't know that 24 hours is so long time, that I can do so many things. And we are so happy when they are telling us, oh, I got this position, I changed my lifestyle, I'm moving more, I became now a sportman, sportwoman. It is so, so nice. So we observe development in all aspects of the human body, not only physical activity, but also cognitive performances, also willing to learn and to develop in space sector.
That's a brilliant motivation to start this. I know in the initial phases, and even now, some people have reservations about analog missions, and they say if it is on Earth, how is it imitating a space environment? And they go out a limb to say it's like camping. But I think it's because of you that I also learned analog missions are not just for fun, because you came with a very strong scientific background for us to do some kind of scientific research with the astronauts within the habitat. So thanks a lot for that. Another aspect of that is, now that you're running Analog Astronaut Training Center as one of the directors, so analog astronaut training is also an important part of your work that you do now. So could you tell a little bit about what that is, how that is going on?
Analog astronauts are maybe future commercial astronauts. Why I say maybe? It only depends on them, how they will think about it. Some people, when they want to be analog astronauts, they just want to have international internship, so the training. And they focus on the training, they indicate this in CV, that's all. But some people, they really want to be astronauts. It is hard because we have not a lot of space agencies, not a lot of human spaceflight programs, and recruitment processes to these places are really hard. There are so small number of positions and so many people applying, so this is nearly impossible to get and to win. But fortunately for all of us, commercial astronautics is developing very fast. Now they are building 9 more orbital space stations. 9. Can you imagine? We remember that there was only one space station flying around, and this space is not so far. It is only 400 kilometers from us. It is really not so far. So now they are building 9 space stations orbiting the Earth. It means that there will be hotels, laboratories, and factories for industry. We have the first case that they produce some drugs in space, and they are much better much more clean for use on Earth. So they are planning to open new factories and new jobs on the orbit. And these jobs will not be done by regular astronauts selected by national, international space agencies. No, no, no. So private companies will start to search for commercial astronauts. And who are them? Where they are? Well, we try to train them. And we get to this topic very seriously. So we try to provide various types of trainings, including everything what is required now to fly to space. So what is required now is to experience microgravity, to check your body, how your body reacts in microgravity, to experience hypergravity. When the rocket launches, you feel some G-forces on your body. And we have contacts with people who can provide this. So we organize centrifuge trainings together with Military Aviation Institute here in Warsaw. We also know that astronauts, real astronauts, they train 8 hours per day underwater. So we specialize in underwater trainings and we provide them, and they are the cheapest in the world because we don't want to earn money for this. We are focusing on different, on different businesses. So this is just for education, just for our hobby, yes? Of course, somebody who wants this training needs to pay for, renting the suit, for military facility, for centrifuge. Of course, these are money that we are not taking, other people are taking. But with all these activities, we know that we can fly to space. Our bodies, our cognitive performances, everything is okay. And we can say the same to people that we train. If you are ready, yes or no. What you need to do to be ready. This we also can say. So this is one big part of analog astronautics. And another part that we are developing is education. Now I applied for 2 grants, including Erasmus+. This is European grant for exchange of students. So now we try to organize analog missions in a more university connected way. And already I was a supervisor of 3 + 6, it is 9 engineering theses performed during analog missions. So imagine, so now analog missions, they can be also the place where you realize your engineering thesis. I have 2 master theses now. I'm supervising 2 master theses working on analog missions, and 2 PhD theses were realized already in our habitat. So imagine, you don't need to only have a camping, what you said, but you can do your engineering master doctoral thesis. We are opening new programs for collaboration, so you don't need to pay a lot of money. And then another, it is commercial astronautics, the real one.
That is covering all possible outputs that you can get from a truly analog mission, right? From the scientific research, and then you're filling this gap that we need so many new astronauts, commercial astronauts, but where would they get that correct training? And I know that you have the expertise within your company to actually provide the right kind of training, and also the education aspect that you're doing is it's just remarkable. I mean, to give a student that kind of an exposure that this is how it is going to be in actual research like missions. This is how it is to do the research within an simulated space mission environment. So it is, these things don't exist a lot. So thank you for working on this. And the only thing I would lastly want to know from you is that you are one of the pioneers of space in Poland, for sure. And you have helped it grow, and you're seeing how space ecosystem is growing in Poland. So I wanted to ask you, where do you think Poland is going to go now. I see many new companies, startups are coming up in aerospace, in all of aerospace in Poland. So, how do you think Poland is going to grow in the next few years, and how would it add to the more broader landscape of European space research?
This question is quite hard, Shumana, because we have war in our neighborhood, and it is quite hard to create new things. But unexpectedly and surprisingly, I must say, Poland is developing quite fast, considering space sector. Even I'm encouraging students to be entrepreneurs and to develop their own businesses, because then they can do what they want. And I had this at ESA, so I could do what I want, and then I had huge motivation. And I know that this is something really, really needed. You need to have this force, this motivation from your heart. But the surrounding is hard, like space. Space is hard, you need to build your spaceship and to be able to have life support system and to survive there. But so I see that there is a constant development of human space sector, even here in Poland. This year, our Polish astronaut, which is a project ESA astronaut, is flying to space. And even I'm in a part of the team that we are sending. I will show you. We are sending such bands for our astronaut to space with sensors. This will be with nanomaterials and kombucha. This band will be the first demonstration of technology that can be whole produced in space. So you don't need to bring it from Earth. And we are doing this project here with Sławos, with our astronaut. And I believe that after he flies, there will be a huge boom in Poland for human spaceflight startups. Until now, AATC is the only one startup developing human spaceflight in Poland. But I hope and I want to have much more such companies. Sorry, I forgot one. Lunares Habitat also is developing human spaceflight, but it was also, I was there before, so I treat it as the one seed. So I think that the whole world will develop, especially now we see that Chinese offers to fly satellites, to fly payloads, they are really cheap. Even students can afford to fly a satellite now with Chinese. This is $8,000 only for 1 year. So this is really small amount of money comparing to what happened. So the space is the cheapest one in the history now.
Thank you for that. I'm very happy to hear what you're working on with the sensor bands that you showed. Thank you for sharing that. And I think if you are there and people like you are there in space, there's a lots of hope for everyone. There's lots and lots of brighter things that are going to come of humanity to explore space and add to space research. And thanks to you, you're also focusing on education, that it's not just one generation doing really good work and exemplary missions, and then you don't know how to train the next generation. So you're doing all of it. And just like I have seen you many years ago doing all of it together and all of it very nicely, you're still doing it. So I want to say that a huge thank you. Thank you for coming and sharing this with us and for everything you do. You're one of the kindest people I know. And today we also proved that again by sharing so much with us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Shumana, and thank you, our listeners. I hope that Shumana motivated you with her passion, with her all power. And I wish you all believing in yourself, because each of us needs to find the way to space. There is no highway to space. You need to find your own way. And space is so big that everyone can do this. I can tell you, everyone can do this. It is just a matter of time and your will. So thank you one more time for all these beautiful talks.
Thanks a lot to everyone watching. There was a lot to learn today. Every minute was, I think, filled with a lot of wisdom and information. I hope you learned a lot. So please stay tuned to this channel. Stay subscribe to this channel, because this month we are coming up with some more wonderful interviews, and I'm sure you're going to learn a lot from them, and it will help you. Like Agata said, that you have to make your way in space. There's enough space. You just have to find your way. So thank you all. Have a wonderful day, and Agata, have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the week.
Thank you, you too. Bye-bye.